to wake up every morning hearing the sound of gunshots, bombs and explosions? Would you like to wake up every morning wondering if today you will have a roof over your head, whether today you will sleep? No, ladies and gentlemen. In Afghanistan, the civilians are living in absolute disgust. Lives are being lost and people are being injured. As Bill said, he said the civilians are not really being injured. However, why is it that 12 civilians lost their lives because 2 rockets which were powered by the troops were shot into a building and killed many? Why is it that these people were people who had no reason to die? Ladies and gentlemen.
On that point?
No, thank you. Why is it that people are afraid to leave their houses in Afghanistan? Why is it that people are afraid to step out their house because they are afraid that when they return home there won't be a home for them? No, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the security is not increasing, it is decreasing. There are 9,000 British troops in Afghanistan. However, there are only 3,500 German troops, 3,300 French, 2,850 Italian, and only 780 Spanish. Ladies and gentlemen, these figures show that clearly British troops are doing a lot more. This means that our soldiers in Britain are dying. Because of this war in Afghanistan, we will be losing more soldiers. The troops were sent on a mission. This mission was not successful. People are dying. Thank you.
Just because an aim is not achieved, does that mean you should stop trying for it?
Can you repeat the question?
If just because your aim is not achieved, should you stop trying?
Well, should you stop? Can you explain that? Because if you think that killing more and more people is okay, then continuing this battle is pointless because you're not achieving your target, but you're just carrying on killing. You're not achieving your target of protecting the civilians because more people are dying. There's an increase of 290 people are dying. 290 times more people are dying in Afghanistan than there were in the 9/11 event. One should not suffer for another's act. Why are the civilians suffering for the terrorists?
Point of information. I think you find there's 69% support among Afghan civilians in a recent poll for the war. Now, how do you explain that if they're all sort of so against it, as you say?
Can you repeat the question?
If they are so against it, if they are so against the war, why does a recent poll show 69% support for the war?
There's 69% for the war, but people are losing their lives, so what kind of a war is this? More and more people are just dying. Information. Not taken. As Victoria said, this is not the best way this is not the best way for the Taliban to be removed from Afghanistan. There are many other ways. It's increasing the terror threat, as she also said. Elaine said to continue using force, it means that people will die. Is it okay to lose the life of people? No, it is not. If we don't end the war now, the war will end us. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, should coalition troops be removed from Afghanistan? It baffles me that we are still discussing this. I mean, are we living in the so-called fast developing world? Is the world still flat? However, as we are discussing this topic, I'm going to look at 3 main points why we believe, as a proposition, we are for this particular motion. The increasing support of the British public to move all coalition troops from Afghanistan, the increasing deaths and casualties of the coalition troops, and the economic side of the war, which is not doing justice to anything or anyone. Afghanistan, a place where homemade bombs are buried under seamlessly every road. This trip was meant to be safe, this trip was meant to be easy, this trip was meant to take 1 year to resolve. From October 7th, 2001 to 7th of March 2010, 3,770 days, ladies and gentlemen. 9 years. When is it going to end? However, let me start off with some rebuttal. As mentioned previously, the Afghanistan troops have now become incompetent. However, the coalition troops have been there for 9 years and have been training alongside with the Afghanistan troops. So 8 months, even though it seems short, they have had 9 years of experience, which is exactly what the opposition are suggesting: more years of experience, which is exactly what is happening. Moving on to my first point, a Guardian poll reveals that 56% of all people want coalition troops out of Afghanistan. So what is driving the debate in the United Kingdom? And why is Afghanistan seen so differently over here? Well, the biggest and most obvious factor is the sharp rise in deaths and casualties. And figures released by the Ministry of Defence show that up until 2009, the amount of deaths in the Afghanistan war since 2001 are currently at 3,408, ladies and gentlemen, and 80% of all injuries have been accounted by the Taliban for British troops. Is history repeating itself? Especially when in the Battle of the Somme, 19,000 men's lives were taken, and these figures show exactly what is to come. Yet, British defence staff are already drawing up contingency plans for the future to send more troops, 1,500 to around 3,000 troops to southern Afghanistan. Do we want this? No, thank you. More troops to be sent into Afghanistan. More blood, more water. Do we want this to happen, ladies and gentlemen? This brings me on to my last and final point. Even though 56% of all people disagree with more troops going into Afghanistan, they are being ignored. Free will, free will, free will. This is what England stands for. They believe that every person should have a right, they should have an opinion. However, in this particular matter, we are not going to listen to. No, thank you. This brings me on to my final point. The economic side of the war. This is where our arguments begin to clash with the opposition. Currently, there is £14 billion of the United Kingdom budget is being spent on the Afghanistan war.
For information,
Yes, please.
your earlier point about British rights, surely the Afghan people deserve similar rights, or should we just abandon them?
Of course they deserve rights, ladies and gentlemen. However, what is more important, the right to the lives of them. By the coalition troops remaining in a secure environment and peaceful negotiation, as previously mentioned, we are giving civilians, the Afghan civilians, a secure and happy future. Going back to my previous point, £14 billion is spent on the economic side of the war, ladies and gentlemen. And hence, what can you do with £14 billion? Many may argue, oh, it's only money. However, 60,000 teachers can be paid with £14 billion. We can benefit this education system. 77,000 nurses, 23 new hospitals can be built. Benefit the health system, ladies and gentlemen. We are living in an economic crisis, and as previously mentioned, that we need to provide the troops with utilities. However, we have money to do this. Ladies and gentlemen, we are living in an economic crisis. It's a credit crunch, a difficult time for all of us. So therefore, we should be saving every single penny. Nevertheless, spending 40 billion in a pointless war, because no one is winning, ladies and gentlemen. Both sides, the coalition troops are losing troops. The Afghan civilians are dying, are being injured. So who is winning? Why are we having this war? This battle needs to be ended. So ladies and gentlemen, for these very reasons, we beg to propose. Thank you.